excellent. It's a main. How we going, team? It is Kaz from In the Trenches with Kaz, and I just want to say hello to you, but also hello to your mother. I'm not drinking this tonight, and although there seems to be an obsession between tradies drinking this, can't get off the mum's tit, so to speak. But tonight we're going to be talking about the Australian Army, the Chief of the Army, General Campbell. Should he walk or shouldn't he? How's that? Or not? Sound check. Let's go. Are we good? I've already been looking through some of the questions with my diminishing eyesight. Mr. Potato Head Eyes. And Lauren is going to help me as we go through and pluck out some really good ones. And I'd like to say hello and welcome to December, and all of the members. We saw someone jump on before and become a member while we were offline.
Yeah, it was a car, I believe.
A car.
Exactly.
We also, I'm just going back through comments here. We also saw a donation from Kenneth Hall again, which is not a removalist company, in case you get confused. There is so much happening around the world as we speak. As we know with the US and the breakdown of the family over there by powers that be in New York, the tradition of unveiling the Christmas tree in New York got blocked by police vans and then taped up tarps between it. So the families that have come out to look at the beautiful spectacle as a tradition, as a family, they put it up so no one could see. You're going, what possible motive could you have to do that on such a shit year for people that are still coming out with hope?
Exactly.
It's a disgrace. Nathan Island. Skull the mother for $100. You wouldn't do it, Kaz. Imagine if someone was blind at the moment. I mean, visually blind. Lauren, not you.
Yeah.
And they heard, I want you to skull your mum for $100. They'd go, what does he mean by that? Let's crack on this. And this is for you too, Kenneth Hall. It's a cracking. Feed him a mother-in-law.
I accept.
That should make him happy.
Welcome, calamari.
It's good to have you here, team. And what we want to do is introduce you tonight to basically a debate. It's important that when we have conversations about critical things that you learn from the mistakes, but also the good actions of others, and also have the conversations in not necessarily a circle jerk where you walk away with only your own opinion and then find out you're embarrassed, i.e., the CDF, who listen too much to a lawyer, Judge Brereton, instead of Prime Minister, people that may have said, hey, pump the brake. Let's be careful here. The backlash, people trust their military more than they trust their police force. Let's be careful we don't tarnish the diggers of Anzac, because that's how far it can go back to those people that hold their own family, who have people serving in their hearts. So what we've got is a bunch of points that we're going to put up here one by one. We'll have a discussion about each one. So tomorrow when you go out, you can say, I feel a little bit smarter after seeing the excellent comments from Bailey's hat, where he threw it and landed on Billy Ocean's bed, or whether it came from Lauren, or I am going blind, I tell you, team.
SRN.
I am about to turn intelligenter looking in 3, 2, 1. Bam. Oh, never play Planet Side 2. It'll drive you insane. Carl P, he's here. Leah's here. Is Leah here?
Yeah, Leah's here. Madison's here. Stoddie's here.
Madison County.
Yep, she's here. She's got a migraine though, so she just popped in to say hello before she goes and has a sleep.
Ocular migraines. I recommend them. So you have a pain threshold, build up.
Yeah.
They are the worst. It's like Chernobyl behind your eyeball.
Yeah,
Go and have a rest, love. And if you need a phone call tomorrow, give me a call. IET's all right. I've got a migraine. Okay. Was it issued? SRN. Thank you, SRN. And just when you thought it was all over, here's your hug. Calamari. For those that have been to Oxford University. It's a crack.
cracking. Feed him a mother-in-law. That should make him happy. Welcome, calamari.
There we go. Team, I'm going to make up some new ones for you. I want to keep those coming back for you. G'day, Josh Cole. How you going, mate? Guys and gals, Sebastian White, great to have you here. Last name racist. Yep, I'm here, Kaz Laurie. So, been missing a few streams. Team, busy with family. Family comes first. But I'm also family. All right, guys and gals, if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe. Watch your name jump up on the screen. I look forward to seeing it. Become part of the crew. If you need more, if you want to be promoted online because you didn't make it into the regular army or you intend on being here forever in the Forever channel, then become a member and watch as your rank grows. We should have some sergeants here soon. Marcus, fantastic name. Sounds like a Roman. That means I'm behind it. Guys and gals, there's going to be differing opinions tonight as we discuss this topic. Should the leadership own part of the blame for the institution that is the Australian Defence Force post-investigation for the Brereton report, prior to evidence or charges being laid against anyone? And what damage will it do? It's interesting to hear your point of view. What I want you to do is just keep down the passion, because we're here because we're passionate. What we don't want is disparaging comments going back and forth. This is about educating and listening to both sides of the argument.
Yeah, exactly. You know, we can be respectful of each other. You really don't need everyone to agree with you.
That's it. And Darren Wah just subscribed. Darren Wah-Wah-Nee, for those that know the band from the 80s.
Well, I know, yep, haven't thought of them for a while.
Great to have you here. Can we get some thumbs up for our new subscribers for the team? Great to have you here, mate, and look forward to answering your questions in the future. Sodali Toba, he is drunk.
Yeah.
Sodali Toba, these ones are for you. Crack an arm around your neck. You can eat calamari, don't eat octopus. It's the devil's creature. This is all for you, mate. The touch of the mother-in-law. Carl loves it when I throw this out there.
It's a cracking. Feed him a mother-in-law. That should make him happy.
Yes, it will.
Welcome, calamari.
Welcome. And we've got Alex Yang there. Zhang. Hey, mate. Sig Zhang here. Keep up the good work. No worries. What I recommend to you ASAP. Team, please change your real names. Do not have your real names at all as part of your social media signature. Just don't do it. We know that's not your real name, Alex.
Yeah, and be a bit careful even when you're under a pseudonym, because they've said that won't stop them looking at what you're doing.
Can't stop me now, having such a good time. I've only got one ball.
Good heavens.
Okay, Alex, what am I drinking tonight? It's probably predictable tonight, because I need this. I need it. And Sodali Toba, this one's dedicated to you. Bam. Okay, I've got it. Not the 19, just the beverage. Cerveza, if you will. Light on the fizz. Been sitting on the windowsill for a year. I don't mind. Daz, the Hyundai driving Aussie.
For ages.
He's on Rhinopolis, but not like a sailor, and not too far below is Fletch, who should be getting an Xbox X as soon as it comes out. And I've heard, pardon me, that if you want an Xbox X, all you got to do is attach it to your mobile phone plan, and then it feels like it's free. Sodali Toba, thank you, sir. Please, don't let me be a sir. I want to support the ship. I don't want to actually steer it. My navigation's shit. Sometimes when I was a kid, I used to vomit on the way to the toilet.
Oh, God.
Our puppy's been really sick. I woke up a couple of days ago, those that are here for the update on Achilles. He had what looked like a hitchhiker's thumb of nugget sticking out his a-hole, and the poor little boy couldn't go to the toilet. So Dad, or the uncle here, had to go in there and extract that, and I did it, because there's no job too dirty for a veteran.
That's true.
And you know what? It tasted like chicken. No, it didn't.
Oh, God.
Mr. Buckaroony, great to have you here. Those that don't know, if he will accept it, I would like to actually throw something out to Mr. Buckaroony that I would like to be an official partner, or Buckaroo to be official partner of this channel. Everything this guy does, all the service he's given the nation has been fantastic. He is an amazing YouTube channel and he's better than mine. But what we do is we help each other, and it's two Australian voices with some wisdom to help you get through the day, or at least arm yourself for the conversation that is so hard to have in today's day and age. And if you look at this photo there, Mr. Buckaroo, it is ramped down, pants down. As I used to call, 5'7". Fletch reckons it probably tasted like the chicken korma rat pack. Okay, guys and gals, what we're going to talk about tonight, we've got lovely Lauren here, as always. The balance of testosterone, estrogen, the second opinion from the ladies' point of view. It's great to have the balance here. It also brings some of the ladies here. One day we might even have a marriage between two of the subscribers. Let's see.
That's great.
Wouldn't that be fantastic? It is important that we start off with a 3-minute video so you have context about what we're about to talk to. We're going to reach in like a bunion and remove it from you, okay, to know what you think, but give you some groundwork first. So Buckaroo, we've got ADZY. Hey, Kaz, any experience on 1RTU Wagga Wagga? Other than going through there, I'm not a fan of Kapuka because it's cut and dry, it's right or wrong, it's black and white, racist, privilege. It's not about your passion or your personality. That's why I was always an instructor, section commander, I should say, at the School of Infantry, or the platoon sergeant representative in leadership and tactics. But this is for you, all for you, and I hope this gives some context about what we're talking about, and watch how, what would we call it? How biased the female commentator is to try and protect the left a little bit here.
Something I know you feel very passionately about, and that's the handling of the Afghan war crimes allegations by Australia's Chief of Defence Force, Angus Campbell, after his major backflip over stripping thousands of our Special Forces members of their medals. Jackie, you think he should go?
Yeah, look, I think we're all pretty upset that, first of all, they haven't looked at their own leadership, which is very upsetting in itself, and what the part they did not play or did play in this, and threw those diggers straight under the bus to cover their own backsides. I think it's time for fresh blood. I think that era's over, and I think that him and some of his mates up there at the very top, it's time for my people to come through and take that leadership over. It's
Jackie,
time for Angus to go.
I think the inquiry, though, was really, really clear that the top brass knew nothing about this.
Yeah,
Come on.
I can tell you, after 10 years in the Army and what I'm hearing, and, evidence will come out eventually. I just don't believe that. There is just no way you could not know what was going on. Look, we had some issues with the resistance to interrogation with what was going on back in 2014, and there were bits and pieces that I was hearing myself out of that. So I just do not believe there is just no way that the brass did not know. I think that is absolute rubbish. And like I said, the truth will come out in the end, and it is very, very concerning. The other problem is, and what I'm hearing, and we did this with interrogation, we paid money to people in the Middle East for interrogation that was extremely flawed. They said they paid it to families for compensation.
Probably paid terrorist team.
Witness statements, when they're getting those witness statements from Afghanistani families. What we all want to know now, was there money exchanged for those statements, and you're going to come out and tell us it was for compensation for their losses. I think we need to know all this morning.
Look, I mean, I think it is murky, but I think that investigation was pretty substantial. Chris, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, 4 years of investigations. I don't have anything against Campbell and Burr for being in charge when some of these alleged crimes occurred. You don't crack the SAS, you just don't. And that code of silence remained firm after that 2014 inquiry. They didn't crack. So you can't blame the brass when the top of army or the top of military decided to have an inquiry. However, I've had personnel, currently serving personnel, and also veterans tell me that they have lost all confidence and trust in Burr and Campbell because of the way they piled on so quickly without the course of justice being run through, without any appeals being hit. You don't take medals off 3,000 people because of the crimes allegedly
while keeping your own.
And they've lost all trust and confidence, and I have a feeling they need to be pushed on.
Yeah, I think the other thing is, Ali, quickly, is they're giving them 14 days to appeal their discharges. There's no way over these sort of allegations, even if you had the biggest legal people in Australia behind you, that you can actually appeal something like that in 14 days. They're throwing them out and they're doing it very quickly, and I do not believe that is the way to do it. Leave them on the side, no financial help, no nothing.
I think there's got to be some credit there for Angus Campbell, though, that he did realise that the decision he made regards to medals was wrong, and he backtracked on it. But
I don't agree. Where are we? Oops. Okay, team. So that was a bit of a video to give you some context behind that and understand what she was actually saying, or they were saying, is the charges haven't actually been laid down on these members as part of criminal or a military investigation yet, but they have been shown an administrational warning for discharge based on allegations, not on proofs. And they have to be able to appeal that, wanting to stay in the military, understanding that the very people who look them in the eyes either think they're guilty, know they're guilty, want them to be guilty. You're not going to have a good career after that. The next thing you do wrong, yeah, whatever. And you're expecting them to bounce back after everything they've done, everything they've said, everything that they were proud of, everything that they sacrificed with their families, and then go, oh, I'll take it on the chin. I'll do that. So we're going to go through this one point at a time, and I hope you appreciate. Steve-O, good to have you here. Nick Arvella, 10 minutes to complete morning routine team. Starts off for 15 minutes, but doesn't it? Nick, it's 15 minutes at Kapuka the first few days, isn't it? Take care and Kaz team, duty first. Mr. Bryce, he's out of here, is he?
His kid's Christmas concert is tonight.
Get out of here, go, mate, and give that little one the best night they can. And the best night is by being there.
Exactly.
Always be there. So let's unwrap this, shall we, guys and gals? And I hope that you like the patter, the way we structure this, so that it's not just preamble. It actually comes out in some relevant sense. Bam. International incident. Whether it happened in 2009, whether it happened in 10, whether it happened in 11, when Angus Campbell was there in charge and got a meritorious cross for it, okay, while trying to take the meritorious citation off the soldiers for the same time period, while he was the highest paid man in the Australian Army. Okay, we'll get to that. But an international incident, which means we've admitted that a situation has occurred before the allegations have been proven that war crimes were committed. What that did is not only tell Afghanistan, you are right automatically, it has now brought a magnifying glass onto the Australia as a nation. It has allowed China, the big red chip, to be able to now focus on us and create a propaganda narrative. It has allowed for people to get money. It has created distrust. It has created potentially distrust between other special forces nations around the world that think, is my name now going to get pulled into this as well? It's an international incident that was based on isolated situations that could have been dealt with until there was a point that it was actually charges laid, etc. Yeah, and then from there, isolated recovery for those incidents could have occurred.
That's right. I think he's tried to use it, Campbell in particular, for political advantage for his own career beyond the ADF. And he has, albeit accidentally or not, he should know better. And he has created this massive shit fight.
I've got to interrupt there because you just broke out some music lyrics. Should have known better.
Known better.
Fix the song. You can finish that off in your own homes team. We've got Alex G here. AG, okay, the Attorney General. Feel free to throw some thumbs up there for Alex G as he just came in as a member. Well done on point one, international incident. This is a domestic incident, Alex.
Yep, welcome, Alex.
You're one of us now, my friend. Good to have you here, and I will have said coffee, or I'll buy a can of dog food for it.
It's a Kraken! Yeah. Feed him a mother-in-law. That should make him happy. Welcome, calamari.
That freaks me out now. Well done, Alex. Good to have you here. 1 month from now, you'll be a Lance Corporal. A month after that, you'll be a full track. And at the 6-month mark, you're going to be a sergeant. And we're going to see a lot more people get their sergeant stripe very soon. We've got Jesse. I wish I had your girl. Just got notification in from reading title. Yes, he should walk, he's saying. Should resign. He's blaming our top of the front. Okay, what I want you to do now is, before we talk about these points, okay, let's go hand of colour if you think he should walk. Let's go yellow thumbs up if you think he shouldn't. And then see if you actually change your mind by the end. Sorry?
Some people, like, I can't on my iPad change the colours, so maybe it should just be a thumbs up or a thumbs down.
Okay.
Like a thumbs down if you think he should stay, and a thumbs up if you think he needs to go.
Well, let's stick with that. Thumbs up, go. Or no, let's keep it like the Romans. Thumbs down. Okay, give him the you're done.
Yeah.
Or thumbs up. Let him go.
Start again, folks.
All right. And just see if you, this is not to record it, this is to see if you change your mind by the end of this stream. We've got someone right from Japan here, Miklay Motors. He works with cars, sports cars. Some of you younger folk in here would absolutely love some of the cars that he works with, and lives in Japan. He's a drifter. Anyway, back to it. International incident. Okay, we have other countries now looking at Australia, and you cannot put the cork back in the bottle, the fart back in the butt. Right? You can't do it.
So you can't put it back.
The mother-in-law back in the coffin. Yeah. Hanging off on an extension ladder. I'll catch the stream later, fugly.
Be safe, fugly.
You can't afford to fall and get fugglier. Get it? Hand of colour, says attaboy. Bam. SRN, how does one move from subscriber to a member? All you got to do is go to the join button, mate, which is beside the subscribe button. Tick on that, and that'll give you 3 different options, mate.
You may not have it on your phone.
And you won't have it probably on the phone. Yeah, that's the
You
thing.
might have it on PC. Yep.
Take your time. Come back another day, SRN. There's no rush, mate. You've just paid for equivalent to 2 or 3 months there, senor.
He reckons Campbell needs to be fed to the Kraken. I agree.
I'm going to throw one to him anyway. There's SRN. I'm going to double tap you here, sir. Not so Carl, the White Warrior. Is Carl there?
It's a Kraken! Feed him a mother-in-law. That should make him happy. Welcome, calamari.
Good. Okay, so we've established as an incident that hasn't been kept in-house. It's got out. That's what's happened. It's got out. Ryan James, welcome to the Great Unwashed. Are you related to Jesse James? Let's throw this to you. Thumbs up for Ryan James.
Yep, welcome, Ryan.
Welcome home. That's right.
It's a Kraken!
Can you feel the hug of the
Feed him a
calamari,
mother-in-law.
Ryan? Saving Private
That should
Ryan?
make him happy. Welcome, calamari.
Thanks, mate. Okay, I look forward to you getting promoted a month from now. You'll look good. Right, Buttlands Corporal is the worst rank you can have. So, international incident. It's been caused. There's nothing we can do to get it back out of the bottle. Although, I will let you know, I have spoken to some of our Special Forces guys from the US, and at least they hadn't heard of this situation yet. And he was really upset when he had heard it, because his friends are in our Special Forces community. Okay, let's go to number 2. Australia as a nation. Have we been tarnished? Before you look at it and go, Australia's in a capital A, Kaz. I know Qantas and Virgin spell it with a lowercase a, and it makes me go crazy. But when I convert this in my, in my font designer, it automatically goes to lowercase, so to speak, to fit it in. So no disrespect to Australia. Mucho respecto. Australia, has it been tarnished? Absolutely. Because your military is an extension professionally of what you stand for and what you're like. And Australia was always known as the can-do. Our prisoners were treated quite well, except by the Japanese, the Yellow Peril, because they knew we treated their prisoners well, in different countries.
Yep.
Except for Japan again. But, they had also been programmed to think that we ate babies, which is probably similar to what they're trying to say in China now. I mean, the red corn chip.
Yeah.
So what do you think? What do you think, Carl? Has Australia been tarnished by the incident? Guys, let's have a look at what answers you might have down here. G'day, Matteo. How you going, mate? Fantastic name. He just saluted left. He did, Ryan James, and we all know that if I didn't have this communication device in my right hand, okay, I would have been on the right-hand side only if I had a hat on. While you're thinking about that, what I'd also like to do is let everyone know that Ed B from the USA, from Tennessee, who's waiting for the outcome of the 2020, his son just got his marching orders, so to speak. Ed B3 has now been given his enlistment paperwork for January 11 to go to Bravo X-Ray, which is enlisted as 11 Bravo, basically, infantry. So Ed B's son is about to continue the tradition of his father, and he takes off on the 11th, and Chantel is the proudest mum, but I think she'll be a crying mum very soon when she realises her son is now not going to be taken for granted, nor the dishes getting done by default. I'm going to do a little video tomorrow for him because fully respect him. His dad did the same time as me. Multiple tours, lost a lot of friends. He is a straight up lovely guy and almost as cool as his squirrel skinning wife, Chantel.
Yeah, no, they're both great. You know, I'm proud as punch of him, so I can only imagine they're bursting with pride.
Yeah. Okay, Zach, I don't mind that you don't know this. That is good that you don't necessarily know this, mate. Okay, wait 2 seconds.
Maybe not if he's thinking of joining up, though.
It's true. You do have to, but we don't know how old he is either.
Well, Zachary's the one who left a comment the other day on the one for partners, and he was, asking some questions. I think I replied it and you replied it in the comments.
Yeah, you've got to be able to be over this because when you go to join, they are going to ask you, what do you think about it? And we'll get to that point in a moment. We've got Adsy there. Love to know bullshit content, Kaz. Keep it up, mate. Pardon me. Thanks for your service.
Do you want to do some questions from the comments?
Yeah, okay. Let's do a couple of questions, then we'll move on to the next one.
Ready, unless you've got more lined up.
But what we're going to do is throw a Nutsu cow at ADZ.
Yeah, do
Why? The White Warrior. Good to have you here.
I accept.
Keeping our dog fed. Thank you very much, mate. Thank you very much indeed. And the bullshit will always, or no bullshit, will continue to flow or not flow through this pipe.
Yeah, exactly. We are accountable to each other, so we make sure there's no rubbish being spoken.
Well, let's have a look at what democracy's got to say. I don't think it is possible to not know about this. There were also complaints from the British, US soldiers in the past as well and refused to do anything. He has to step down if he has any self-respect left. Okay?
Yep, he does.
He does?
Whether this is proven to be false or true, he's failed either way.
And I'm not going to say anything on this until we get further into the points for tonight. Yep. So I'll explain what I believe.
Did you want to keep going on the points and then I'll get to some of the comments?
Yeah, let's go to a couple of comments, mostly about this subject, but if we can, because we just asked if they could write comments to that actual Has Australia Been Tarnished?
Oh, yeah, no worries. Sorry, I'm trying to keep up.
That's right. So Jesse's there. No, we haven't been tarnished. We're Aussies. We're the best and strongest small army. I agree. One man's mistakes, cough, cough, Campbell, will not bring us down. Now, let's not completely live inside our shell and say nothing has been done, because we also don't know that and don't want egg on our face too to be
exactly. And
sanctimonious.
No one here is saying that's okay if things have been done. But I have a little bit of a different point of view. It is still Campbell's fault. In fact, it's even more his fault. He is responsible for the duty of care of every single soldier that served under him. And he shouldn't have taken that role if he wasn't up for the role. He shouldn't have done it because he is responsible for the duty of care. If something's gone horribly wrong, it's probably from a mental health issue. Those things do not happen in a vacuum. So it's still his fault. And nobody here is saying it's okay if those things have happened. That's not what we're saying. But he's totally wrong to throw diggers under the bus and try and win political points from it.
and we'll get to that as we get a little bit further into this video. Jesse, no, we haven't been tarnished. We're Aussies. We're the best. Okay, yep, we saw that one. Nathan Allen, do you see us getting into conflict
Jesse.
with the red chip? I do, but I don't know what it's going to look like, whether it's going to be economic or whether it's going to be hot or a cold. We've got Carl P. I think all of this has tarnished the Australian military in some way. It won't bring us down. We will rise again. I agree, because people don't tend to care or hang on to anything these days. No matter how bad it is, no matter how savage it is, it's forgotten. But the military will not forget it. And we'll explain that in a moment. Well done there to Carly.
Replied Jesse saying, I look at it like, yes, we have been tarnished, but it will not hold us down because we're Australians.
Yep. And Jay Gunn. Jay, that's a great name. They'll make you carry the gun because you've got a name like that. What will the Army be looking for when asking new recruits what they think of the issue? They won't ask recruits necessarily that, because I'll take it the fact you're still coming through the door that you're okay. What they might ask, and that might come out in the assessment stage, what they will do is they'll definitely ask people as part of their officer selection. Go, would you be loyal to blah, blah, blah. And we'll talk about that in a moment. We've got Texas Walker Transport, upgraded membership to bearer of coffee or dog food. This one's for you. I hope you enjoy some cracking as your mustache.
It's a cracking.
Hold on, Kat.
Feed him a mother-in-law. That should make him happy. Welcome, calamari.
I just had 4 sips of the illegal alien beverage, and bam, look at me. James Morris. Red chip.
Yeah.
Red corn chip.
Well done.
Navy and RAF will be the response with US task force. Yep. Yes. I probably agree with that there, James.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
The doors, James Morris. Bam. Have it. Have some. Not so cow. In your soup. Ramen.
I accept.
He accepts. Dave, follow the sapper. No, I'm not going in confined spaces, mate. The other countries that have served with Australia know it's bullshit. Or they understand the rules of engagement. They understand the laws of armed conflict. They understand the playbook they were given that doesn't work.
Yeah, and the asymmetrical warfare that you explained so eloquently to us the other week.
Equivalently.
Yes, exactly.
Zoso, the Americans are already sending another naval fleet to our shores to help strengthen our waters. And while we're talking about this, let's remember that TRUMP will be the President of the United States. Okay, right. International incident. Right, let's get that one going. Next one. Bam. Has due process been given? As it comes out.
Nope. I don't think.
Categorically, no. You know, we know it hasn't been. This has been an assault by media, a persecution. Joan of Arc, Bermuda Triangle, no way back, my compass, it's off kilter. We've got people that found out through the media that they were going to be in the shit. What the hell is going on there? If all of these people didn't say anything around the incident and didn't say anything later, or maybe they did, but if they did, then doesn't that mean hierarchy is responsible for what happened and what they didn't do about it? Don't know. But this is a pretty easy one. Due process, absolutely not. They were tarnished. What's worse is they even said to the people in Afghanistan, sent people over there to go and look for crimes, to go and offer money to a third world country. If I can give you a house or $10,000.
Take anything you want.
Yeah. Someone in Portugal would go, yeah, the SAS were here. They came in, they gave my whole family ingrown toenails, and then they left and took me wife.
Yeah, and my goat.
Little Italian, absolutely no due process given. Little Italian, now I want a bloody pizza. Little Italian, we haven't got one of you. Can you please subscribe so we can see your name come up on the board here? I'd love you to be part of our family, Little Italian.
always nice to have new folk.
It is. Jackson Walsh, media is corrupt. They are working with government undermining our military, and it is so obvious to see because of what's happening in 2020, the manifestation of bullshit that is coming from activism and political means that is pouring back on us.
I'm not sure they're working with government. I think they might be running their own agenda.
I think they are in the US.
Yeah, I think they are here too myself.
Yeah.
But I do think at this point they are easily used by the government if they need to be. I think the government is wishing the media hadn't dealt with it the way that they have. I think the government has kind of been blindsided by all of this.
I just want to know, were people paid for their stories for 60 minutes? If you're a whistleblower and you got paid, God help you. God help you.
Yeah, exactly. And look, I cannot fully blame them because media are tricky people. You can speak to anyone who's been done over by any journalist. They are very tricky, and especially when they're being tricky to people who have mental health issues, it's hardly even a fair fight.
Yep, that's right, because if you try to fight back, they'll go, don't listen to them, they've got a mental health issue. But when it is convenient, okay, we had this troubled soldier talk to us. Yeah. Brady Carr, great one right there. Don't worry, the media will fake their love for us again on Anzac Day. Absolutely true.
Exactly. So will all the politicians standing there for a photo op.
And Project Veritas is at the moment is dug deep, white anted into Charlie November, and they look like they're in big trouble. Ken Genie, true or not, people need to remind themselves that these blokes sacrificed life and limb to make Afghanistan safer. Also, the conventions of war don't apply to unconventional enemies like the Taliban. Absolutely true.
And they did make it safer. It was a terrible place under the Taliban, especially as a woman. It was one of the worst places on earth to be as a woman.
Before the Taliban came back in, women used to be over there with no burqas on, walking around, and they looked like they were about to be a developing country.
Yeah, exactly.
But then all that left when the Taliban came back in.
And the Taliban did make sport of oppressing women. And where's the feminists on that? Forget policing our words and microaggressions.
Jackson.
Why aren't you happy that the Taliban are frickin' gone?
Mr. P has just yelled in comments, Kaz, get that smirk of sleazy eyes off the screen.
Yeah, look at him.
We're just talking on this topic tonight. No world of Doro, no. We'll talk on other subjects, but it's important to have a focus. It's awful that the soldiers concerned aren't allowed to speak publicly, and they won't be allowed to, not only because it's an investigation, but those that are serving, you are not permitted to talk to media, which makes this, again, a slip of leadership, because there is a thing called a charge for prejudicial behaviour, which means for Jackson or The Guardian or Attaboy or Sad Boy, if you do something in uniform or say something or identify yourself as a military member on Facebook, Instagram, in person, you can be charged for bringing disrepute, ill repute on Australia and also the military and your uniform or the Anzacs or yourself. Now, you can't say anything, yet we've got someone who got up and damned everyone below him except himself. Oh, okay. And his chain of command. All right. And nothing's happening to him. Or so he thought. But now it looks like the big boys are coming after him. And you know who one of the big boys is? Scotty Morris, I think, who got put in the mud just like you and I did.
I think he was blindsided. I think Roger Ramjet's spot on with that comment, though, because the other half of that comment says it's a one-sided narrative from the media. And that's really not okay.
Hey, Roger, when was the last time you heard, what's that dickhead from the project? What's that?
So you know I don't know.
What's his name? He's always crying.
Waleed.
Yeah, he's a pussy. He's always crying about shit, but you've never heard any one of them ever bring up the atrocities that's happening against civilians in any one of these countries that our sheepdog go over and go, bullshit, you're going to do that again. You know, I would never want anyone that goes over and serves for Australia to go through the watch but don't help situation that went through all of those of Unimir 1 and 2 in Central Africa. You know, all of those that have lost their mind and their souls, you know, walking away from the fight that we were well trained to actually say, not on my watch. You know, I want you guys to go there, not have to look backwards, not feel like the guns are at your own back, like commissars of Russia in World War II. I want you to feel like your brass has got your back. They've told you what to do and said, we've got you, son. The only thing you need to look back for is either 1, more ammo, 2, where's my goddamn medic, and 3, can I use the sat phone? James, Taliban. Feminists will say it is a cultural thing, so we cannot interfere. They would if it was affecting them, wouldn't they?
Yeah, well, it's our culture to kill them.
Yeah. Ben. James Morris.
I accept.
Thank you, sir, and very accurate. You never hear anyone from the left talking about the garbage in India, the garbage in the Ganges, the pollution of the red corn chip. You never hear any of that. The atrocities on all these people. It's only give me a white man in an expensive suit and give me his money.
Yet I'm free to live here without fear of being pack raped if I get on a bus. So no, those feminazis can stop policing microaggressions, and if they really care about women, they can get out there into the big bad world and help women and children who actually need saving.
Right on. We've got Mr. Cooper there, one of the people I like the most from the 2nd Battalion, the Royal Australian Regiment, second to none, the best small army in the world. That's him. And he was better than the people around him. I'd take my hat off to him. I wouldn't have told him while we were serving because you don't do that. But Coops, follow the sapper. Nah, mate, the SF units were pushing for higher ups to leverage the battalions more, but they didn't want news of conventional troops losing their lives. It was all about force protection. They thought send the special forces in there, okay, more in a reconnaissance role or an impact, but do not dominate the AOs, the tactical areas of responsibility, because mathematically we will lose more people. So it's about force preservation, exactly what Coops was saying. They wanted to work with us on a larger scale operations, but we were muzzled, so to speak, and told that this is not actually why we're here. But it was a conflict of interest, for sure. Little Italian says, already a subscriber, been one for a while. Just changed my name, that's all. Well, it's a great name.
It's a really good name.
And look, he's thrown some pizza at me. I love pizza. I love it. It's one of the few foods you could have every single day.
Yeah, I like pizza.
Okay, due process. We agree? None. Next. Bam. Trust in leadership. This starts to lead to an inevitability that there can only be one outcome of this. And this will lead to you probably changing your mind if you said, no, let him stay. Okay. The trust in the leadership. Like I said before, we look forward, we get told by people who only have to have moral courage, we have to have physical courage. You won't see the officers dead on the battlefield, especially in asymmetric warfare, unless it was through an incident where they got past the front line, so to speak, or an IED, etc. Because a lot of the times we don't actually have our commissioned officers on the ground outside the wire, and if they are, they're cocooned around a steel fence of enlisted soldiers, so to speak, carrying out the mission. But they expect us to have the physical courage. The trip onto the plane, the boat, okay, into the theatre, where we can come back either, 1, as injured person, 2, fine, or maybe even mentally injured, right? Mental scars or invisible wounds, or the other one could end up draped in your own flag. But all we expect in return is there is moral courage. And this is something that is absolutely driven into the chain of command. Moral courage. You've got to have moral courage. You've got to have moral courage. But I can tell you right from the very start, although they talk about this at RMC and they talk about this, it's bullshit. Because the second you do not agree with your next up, whether it be a captain, whether it be a major, whether it be a lieutenant colonel, or whether it becomes a staff officer above, you can damage your own career or even destroy your opportunity to move forward because of one robust conversation, which is what moral courage is supposed to be all about. So at the moment, the trust in the leadership. Do you know who's going to suffer almost the most in this will actually be the commissioned officers who are trying to do their job, who have a beating heart, who love their soldiers, who are there, who are brave as hell, physically as well as moral. Sorry?
Some who wanted, for all we know, there was some who wanted to speak about, to get this sorted out and were shut down or couldn't.
Well, yeah.
We'll never know.
And they've been handed their sword, what they used to do as, as loyalty to the commander or to the king, etc., was you used to hand your sword to him on parade, and he'd look you in the eye, and if he thinks that he's got your trust or he can trust you, he hands the sword back to you. You know, so you trust him to give him your sword, and then he gives it back to you for you to serve. So what's going to happen now is how many versions of...
wow, red cow.
What?
Red cow.
I haven't seen any. Hey, got to go, mate. Here's some dog food for the little legend. Nathan, you got 24 hours, mate, to say I need it back, and I will send that back. There is no reason to ever do a donation like that, friend. There isn't. But, mate, thank you very much. That is a lot of dog food, and if it's going to happen, it's going to happen in one meal, and Achilles is going to eat it through his heel. I don't know.
It's a Kraken. Feed him a mother-in-law. That should make him happy. Welcome, calamari.
How do you actually respond to that? Nathan, how are we supposed to respond to that, mate?
Thank you, and chuck him a kraken.
Get some more kraken around your lip.
Yeah.
For the mother-in-law purposes, mate. I just don't know what to do when that happens.
It's a Kraken. Feed him a mother-in-law. That should make him happy. Welcome, calamari.
Little do we know that Nathan has Trump money.
I did give Owen Wilson. Oh, wow. Now Nathan Island's doing more. Stop it, Nathan.
Okay, no more. Never enough for all your time and support you give us, mate. Nathan Island, are you sure you're not Angus Campbell? Could it be Angus Campbell out there?
He would not be doing that.
All right.
I actually have something to say about the trust in leadership.
Wait 2 seconds. It's just the sound of the Kraken.
Oh, okay.
It's a Kraken. Feed him a mother-in-law. That should make him happy. Welcome, calamari.
You're a legend, mate. You're a legend. You know, he's got his wife's credit card on his lap at the moment going, it's her fault.
And handbags.
Thank you, mate. Cheers. Good on you. What were you going to say?
I've got something to say about the trust in leadership from a different perspective. As the ADF is always saying, and I think they say it on their website, that they draw their people from the Australian families. And we have a trust in that leadership as well when our loved ones go off to serve.
Yes.
And we have a trust that they will be protected. And as much as possible, we understand that they're going on this great adventure and it's going to be dangerous. And we're willing most times to support them on it. And we don't mind you getting the tax money to keep it going. But we want that to be put to good use. We don't want this, whoever is chief of the army, getting paid the big bucks just to rock up and smile for the camera.
Yep.
We want him to actually be responsible and hold up a high standard of duty of care for our loved ones. And if that one of my sons, I would truly be furious at him for failing to meet his duty of care.
It's true, and we haven't even spoken yet about the Army Reserve Brigadier that is Linda Reynolds, who was quiet as a cricket. So we're going to talk about her in a minute too. Right. James Morris, I have a Pembroke Corgi. The Queen loves the Corgi. She is a vacuum. Nathan Island legend. Kaz, you excite us all. Keep it real. Mate, it goes to show you how few voices there is out there for people to actually grip onto about any subject and just go, look, I just want to hear someone else say what I'm thinking.
I accept.
White Warrior. James Morris strumming his banjo. Did you know that Daz, the Hyundai driving crazy man, and one of the most patriotic people that we have on our channel, is also a very good banjo player. He sent me a message. It was actually pretty good.
He's a man of many talents.
Think you have to dance Saturday Night Fever, says Cookie Monster. That is a song you can put on where even someone with depression is going to move.
Yeah, you can't not.
It's awesome.
Mr. Patterson's off to bed, I think. Good night, John Boy.
Do you want me to tuck you in, sir?
With a song. He wants you to sing him a lullaby.
Once upon a time, I met a tranny.
Hey.
His name was Page, Elliot Page. I can't believe that one. Isn't that a rock show? Anyway.
That's off topic.
Our trust in leadership. How many levels does it go down? Because we've got so many people that just did not realise this was coming. We've got the Defence Minister, who is Linda Reynolds, who said nothing for 2 weeks. And now all of a sudden, Scotty Morris, who loves our military, who loves his country, who is the Prime Minister of our country, who is standing up to the red chip, has turned around and actually had time to take his breath back and go, what did you just say? What is this rubbish? And now all of a sudden she's going, I agree. What the hell's going on here? She should step down too. I would expect either a combined message all the way through to the end and they have to have spoken to each other, the Chief of the Defence Force and the Defence Minister. They'd have to know exactly what's going on and what's about to come out and to be ready for it. Life rafts, lower them. We're going to need it in a minute.
Because if they don't know it, if they don't know what's going on, what the heck are they doing?
Here we go. Ivan, what are you drinking tonight, Rusky? You know, one of the best drinks you can ever have if you're not driving is a couple of vodkas. One, it doesn't make the breath stink, but it gives you the Dutch courage, even though you're Australian, to say to the girl, you look pretty great in that kilt. How does General Campbell expect the family members to surrender awards posthumously given to our fallen? And I know some of these people, and I've spoken to some of them as well, Ivan, and it'd be what you expect. Over my fucking dead body. You know, it's detrimental to our armed forces that the chain of command is broken and has left us failing. Believe me, there is a reason why this was the biggest mistake, and this all has come around in our trust for leadership by also the lack of conviction in the decision by the fact that the Chief of the Defence Force blinked first and then said, okay, I won't take that award now off the 3,000 that served. You could at least respect him if he kept his guns, stood down, said, take my medal back too. I didn't know about this incident. And if I step down first, I want this to go ahead. I want every soldier that is not part of that organisation or those charges to retain the meritorious citation, but I will give up my cross because people died and now they have a permanent cross. You know, anyway, let's move on. Trust in leadership is gone.
Here's a comment that disagrees
about
being resigning.
Okay.
Nan, who we love in the chat, says according to the allegations, it all happened at the section level, sergeant and below, so the officers were unaware. That's my issue. So he shouldn't resign, as the sections can make their reports however they like. Yet, surely an army is not run by its sergeants and corporals. Is that right, Cass? Maybe I'm wrong.
Soldiers will perform in a way they are either encouraged or in the amount of freedom that they are given. It is impossible that people didn't know that this was happening.
And if he didn't know, he totally lost control of the army he's meant to be chief of. He's meant to have his finger on the pulse. And also, he showed his initiative in how thoroughly and sneakily he investigated it after he had to. He could have been doing that all along and known what was happening and nipped it in the bud.
One of the easiest ways to explain this one to you, Aussie, is why did the captain of the Titanic go down with the ship? It's because it's his responsibility. If anyone needs to be left behind, if anyone has fallen because of either his malpractice or those that he trusted let the ship down, then he must be the first to fall on his sword. Japan, a commander must take his own life if they are faced with the loss that could have been avoided.
Yeah, if something smelt fishy, he should have investigated it. I reckon he was too busy off eating little sandwiches and posing for photos.
Did you say fishy because I said Titanic?
No, I didn't. But that's funny. That's very punny.
Andy Games, if the leadership didn't know, then they didn't do their job.
Exactly.
If they didn't know, it went on for, we're talking about 10 years.
We're talking about 4 different chiefs of army have dropped the ball here.
If we didn't, I don't believe all the officers should lose it, but I believe he should.
Yeah, I agree.
Because he's the one that also brought it up, and we're about to get on to the trust in leadership. We're also going to talk about something else which is even darker that's coming up. Make sure you stay. If you're about to put a ring on someone's finger, make sure it's calamari so you can get back here quicker, and then we'll get back into it. So, the trust in leadership. At the private level, already when you join the military, you will be disgusted in the double standards, the treatment that happens, the more money, etc., that goes on, even if it's perception by the executive class of the military. The fact that they get paid more, can't get charged really for being late, won't get charged for the misdemeanors that a private soldier gets, can be right in every argument and you can't actually talk or even have the last say, even when you're correct, can't contribute to certain conversations that need to happen. If an officer is having a bad day, you can't let him know that's enough, pull your head in. That's not the way it works, blah, blah, blah. So to do this and then to also get like a special forces attack on your own call sign, clandestine, below the detection threshold, using medical people to do so, and perhaps a combined effort with 60 minutes, there is no way they are going to look back and say, okay, I'm happy to go overseas, let you dictate how much danger I'm in, okay, but still charge me for being 1 minute late, while you're still wearing a decoration you're saying you knew nothing about, the actions of those in your command that maybe felt like they were hinted to do so, because to win is what you're getting paid for, what you're risking your goddamn life for. These people have children. They want to get home safely. They have children and they see people hurting children and decide not more on my watch. You're not pass and go. You're not going to be a home run. I'm in a unique position right now as executioner to someone who does not wear a uniform by deliberate design, that you've been found guilty today. That's my rant. I'm going to move on. Bam. Current recruiting affected. The answer can come from you, but I believe is no. I don't think this will affect recruiting. But what it will affect, potentially, is the special forces recruiting. When you say to someone now, picture this, if you were Stoddy there, or you were Rory Kay, and you went in and you said, oh yeah, I want to enlist in the Australian Army, and I want to go to SASR one day. What's the very first thing that someone that has never been in an arms corps, someone that has never actually been in a uniform, is a civilian APS person, Navy or Air Force, what are they going to think when you say special forces? They're going to go, oh, you just want to go over and do said, you know what I'm saying? And you go, no, I'm not. I just want to go to where it's extremely professional and has the hallmarks of the best soldiers in the world, or at least level with. I don't know why you brought that up. Blah, blah, blah. So I believe it absolutely won't affect current recruiting, but it will affect special forces recruiting. Obitak. I hope I said that right.
Yeah.
No, it's not affected.
No, look, I disagree with what Obitak is saying.
I didn't hear what he said.
That, you know, the diggers are responsible. Everyone should be accountable for their actions.
Nope.
That's right. But if they have done something wrong, it's his fault either way. Whether they have if they haven't, he's handled it terribly. If they have, he handled it terribly.
Just like the captain of the Costa Concordian, as Donald Trump has just said, I hope you win, mate. I really hope you win.
But that's exactly right. And he also said it was sus how the guy who first broke the news died. It's not sus at all with the way a guy with poor mental health was manipulated by the media. What did they think was going to happen? The veteran suicide rate is sky high in the best of conditions, let alone when you put that kind of pressure on people. It's not sus at all.
James.
Welcome, James.
Mowing? James Mowing Service? Jims. That's Jims. Hey, James, how you going? Jesse James. Welcome to the Great Unwashed. Great to have you here, mate. I look forward to your promotion 1 month from now. Can't wait to see it. Are you ready for some tentacle, or would you rather some nutsu cow? I tell you what, how about we give you both? And a left-handed salute.
It's a Kraken. Feed him a mother-in-law. That should make him happy. Welcome, calamari.
Right, it's going to get a little bit deeper here. But believe me, when you talk about, and we'll go back a little bit, about soldiers being accountable, we are accountable. You know, we definitely are. And we will lick our wounds and we will take the kicks, and we do when it happens. But I'll explain something to you.
No one here is defending war crimes of any kind.
Especially once proven. And especially if both sides have had their say and you don't get some anecdotal evidence from someone saying, this is why I did it, and 99% of the population, except for that one person that presses down thumb on a puppy video, goes, Jesus, now I realise why you special forces, you did what I couldn't do, and I take my hat off to you.
Exactly.
You know, and I hate to bring this up, but I've got to keep bringing it up. The soldiers of Bravo Company, right, in Unimir 2 that were at Caballo, the fact that they were able to hold their discipline and not pull triggers on black soldiers killing black civilian families and children, you know, there was no way. If you don't do anything, okay, you've obeyed your rules of engagement, you've obeyed the laws of armed conflict, but you've also let down civilians for the rest of days on one of the most religious sites on earth. There is no win. There is no win. The actions of the soldier on the ground are often in a position where he has been let down by the chain of command by not giving them the rules of engagement that suit the atrocities that are about to occur. We should feel that when you see something, there is a judgment call that those on the ground can go, bam, I am the sheriff today. But we expect the commander to come forth and say, we're all going to go down with the ship today, but we're going to do it for something that was worth dying for. We lit. I got to go. My skinny ass needs a shower and go back to studying. Happy to be here. Hopefully you'll be happy to hear. I've did my aptitude test. We lit. How did you go? Let us know how you went, because an aptitude test is one of the hardest things, because you've also got to accept the result is where you naturally lie within the IQ spectrum. I would refuse to do it because I'd be scared of the truth. I can't handle the truth. Thank you very much, mate, and here's some nutsu cow for you. Thank you very much, We Lit. Sounds like a German name.
I accept.
One of you could be beside We Lit in February, March, April, May, June, July, August of 2021. Let's hope so. Team, don't let it change your mind if you want to join. Yeah, absolutely. This is an incident occurred. You know what? Every single place we've been to. Imagine if civilians and lawyers and journalists had seen at the Battle of Capion the bayonet charge of Australian forces on Korean soldiers? Would have they thought that was an atrocity? What about some of the ambushes in Vietnam? What about some of the trench raids that were done on the Somme? What about the flip side of the things that were done to Australian soldiers? What about the Changi Death March? Guys and gals, it is not a game of tennis. It's not.
No, war is ugly. Who thinks it isn't? And this is what I'm saying. You have to know, I think everybody's forgotten how awful this particular enemy was. We're acting like they cared about children. They didn't care about children. I bet they gave them weapons. They did. We know they did. You know, this is rubbish. This, oh, poor them, they're victims. Well, listen, if they're going to get compensated, we want compensation for all the families of Australians who have been killed by Afghan people.
Yep, the green on blues. But you never hear about that. Here's one for you, team. Have a look at this for a sec. This is from the Caballo massacre. I don't think I've ever shown it on here before. It's fairly rare, okay, that I'll show you something, but this is something that I took from there as an example of some of the things that were used on civilians, okay, and I brought this back to me to always remember what happened there, okay. Bam. That is one of the axes from the site where the attack on the civilians had happened. It wasn't used with just bullets. It wasn't used with just guns. Every manner of taking human life was used. And I brought that back as a memento, you know, of how bad the world can be. All right. And that was as bad as it can basically get to. All right. And I'd never want someone to be carrying the shame that we have in the survivor's guilt because they weren't armed with a way to succeed or to protect the young and the vulnerable, which is the reason why in Western Sydney you always feel like you're on attack mode, because you see so many people you wish you could just take them in and give them a room and give them a better life. But sometimes people don't know what a shit situation they're in.
Yeah, exactly. You can't miss what you haven't had, and you know they haven't had our lifestyle.
That's right. Let's move on. This is the last slide, but there is one we're going to talk about after it. Bam. The answer comes. Should he walk? It happened on his watch. He was given a meritorious service cross, I believe it was, for the actual tour he was there. Despite the fact that he wasn't outside the wire, he wasn't patrolling, he wasn't in danger.
Watching what was going on. He wasn't even doing his job. Oh, there's another red cow. No, it's a magenta cow.
It is. It's a menstrual cow. James Morris. Lawyers and social welfare integrated with soldiers in battles. Oh my God, imagine when after action, Blubbering Rex, Kosovo and the Dutch is an example. Absolutely, James. And you're going to get the double clasp of rewards right here, mate, for the menstrual cow. With all head actions included.
It's a crack! Feed him a mother-in-law. That should make him happy.
That was
Welcome,
number one.
Murray.
Straight back to you. Again, James Morris, Doors.
It's a kraken! Feed him a mother-in-law. That should make him happy. Welcome, calamari.
Thank you very much, team. Look, it has been more than passionate tonight, and it is important that we have these conversations that you can actually say to someone, look, this is Australia. We're not looking at something unfolding in 2020 in USA or the nation of the red chip. This is something that's real, that's affecting people right now, and the people that are affecting you. And it's like they're declawing the tigers that protect our borders. You know, it's not coming to our homes necessarily, but the job of us is to fight abroad so it doesn't come onto our own soil. And it slowly feels like we're selling ourselves to allow the wolves onto Australian soil, your postcode, and actually giving them the right to vote. What do I mean by that? I will not go into it.
Yeah, exactly. And also, the truth is that it's our job and our duty, and it takes moral courage to stand up and be a voice for people who don't have a voice. These folk have been tried through the media, and they have been pulling people's emotional strings. And yes, people should be upset and outraged at war crimes, but they are getting in the way of due process by being emotional about this, because they don't have the full picture, and they need to see that full picture. And Campbell needs to walk. He needs to do the honourable thing. He should show some moral courage, because it was the standard he walked past. Now he should walk out the door.
Look, I agree. In summary, I agree. Not summary, because we've got another point to go on with after this, which is the special truffle, so to speak, not calling anyone a pig. I believe he should walk. I believe he should. And if he was to redo this, I believe that what he should have done was gone to the Defence Minister and said, I need to have a conversation with you. Allegations have come to my ear that you need to know about, as he laid the cross down onto her table and said, with all due respect, I cannot wear this cross without feeling like what I'm about to do next, is for a personal agenda, progression, or ambition.
Yep.
What I need is an investigation to occur. There is targeted members who have been accused of said atrocities. If they are guilty, then I want the book to give them, one, the chance to speak, but two, I want them to be held accountable for their action. Take into account there's 3,000 people. Yep. We're looking at numbers as high as 20 for this. Yep. This is going to ripple across the nation. It is with no joy that I bring this up, but I'm going to start with my cross, follow is my resignation.
Yep.
Okay, and from there, what I'd like to do is to show people, as I metaphorically lay on my sword, that is with absolute privilege, that I have served this nation for as long as I have and reached the very highest levels. But I do not believe that we can put a bookend on this chapter unless everyone is held accountable, and it must start with me.
Absolutely. I think, apart from that, his position as the chief has just become untenable. He failed in his duty and he got a promotion.
He got hit LBW and he refused to walk. Exactly. Now everyone after him will refuse. He's given them the ability to refuse to walk, and you can't allow that. Ryan James, Jesse, I hate he won't take responsibility or stand down. You know what the sad thing is? It's in your tentacles. Here it comes.
It's a Kraken! Feed him a mother-in-law. That should make him happy.
Hopefully.
Welcome, calamari.
The one thing that is going to be really tough for this, even if this was a slip of common sense, adherence to history, the burden of command, leadership, the right thing to do, intelligence, IQ, position, moral courage.
I don't think it was a slip.
Yeah, neither do I. Okay, and remember, he was my boss at one stage.
Yeah, exactly.
It's too late. If he steps down now, it's too late. It's also, I believe, too late for the Chief of the Army, okay, which is Rick Burr. I think he's got to go too. And I also think the Minister of Defence has to go as well.
Yep, I agree, because they all should have known what was happening. They all should have had their finger on that pulse. When they have lost control of the army, what the heck are they doing getting paid for their jobs?
Okay, excellent question by Ozinen. One thing I would point out, how would those in SF that saw that, because they don't boast, they're not Instagram soldiers.
No, they don't.
What has been alleged, speak up, especially in SASR. Their ops are typically classified and would have been prosecuted if they said anything. Absolutely right. And when you've met someone's family, when you've met their friends, but also the actions they've done, you go, you know what? If a jury of, not of my peers, if a jury saw the actions I did and actually could smell my smells, could see what I see, can hear what I hear, and knew what I knew, they would probably be clapping me on the back and saying, awesome. And if you don't believe that, look at mob rule in every first world country and you'll see exactly the same.
Yeah, exactly. And also, if there was a problem with people being given a right to go through correct channels to report this kind of stuff and have an internal investigation at the very first hint of someone losing the plot, then that is still Campbell's fault. And not just his, the other chiefs of army at the time, their heads should roll too. And it is still their fault. That's what duty of care means.
Yep, and burden of responsibility.
Exactly.
Mr. Patterson is actually going off to bed now. I recommend an NDEP. That will put you out for 24 hours and you will come back feeling like you've lived on Shutter Island.
I think he has a bit of Finnegan at night. So you go have sleep, Mr. Patterson.
Not bad. Okay, let's talk about the last one, which we haven't got a slide for. Delegate, here you go, mate. Okay, so what do you think of the picture leaked? I believe it to be from Tarankout. Could be wrong, about the soldier drinking from the prosthetic leg. I wouldn't think that's not a big deal at all. That's awesome. That's going to show people like, yeah, who gives a shit? We're the ones that lose our legs, lose our lives.
I understand that to the civilian who's led a really sheltered life and a good life and a blessed life, that the sense of humour of even like emergency service people can be pretty shocking.
Yeah.
But when you are in dark places like you've been, you know, with mass graves, massacres, like Stoddy's scene with the children in Afghanistan, you develop a pretty dark sense of humour, and that's really well documented, and it's how you cope. It's a coping mechanism.
It is. Mouser, the untouchables, we called them at the senior level, yes. They shit gold, 88 to 92. Okay, happening back then. It's always been happening. Yeah, it's always been happening. This is not meant to be a witch hunt. What this is meant to be is the right thing to do. You know, there was protocols that they could have done. This investigation could have happened. It could have been. There is incidents and alleged atrocities that may have happened throughout the span that we have been in Afghanistan. But understand, okay, these will not be aired until it is proven that these situations are valid. We are not going to pay Taliban families money, and reward them for attacking our soldiers.
Do you realise the hoops that victims of crime in Australia have to jump through to get pittance? It's terrible. It's so much legal paperwork, and most of them are usually too traumatised to even get through the process. But they sure as hell can't get or even apply for compensation until there's been a fair trial and there's been a conviction recorded. So we need to let the AFP handle it, do what they've got to do, let people have a right of reply, let them explain to the court, not to us, not to the media.
A military court.
Well, yeah, exactly. Let them explain to a court that understands the situation, understands asymmetrical warfare and the things you've explained, the extenuating circumstances. They need to be allowed to have their right of reply. And like you said, they need to be able to describe the sights and smells and sounds and how they're meant, if it did happen, how their mental health got to that point. They could even have a diminished responsibility because Campbell, Morrison and the other chiefs of the army at the time dropped the ball in their duty of care.
It's true. And Coop says here, very seriously, I only drank from boots. I feel like they set a bar a little higher, a leg above the rest, if you will. I'm sure the person that had lost the leg had no problem with it, or they wouldn't have done it.
Oh, look, whatever.
I've drank out of a goat's foot with Colombian soldiers. That was disgusting, but I did it for cultural reasons.
And you know what? Now you've got the story. Flubber asked a question before with a super chat. Did you see that?
No.
Do you feel sorry in any way for Angus? I do. Look at his head. I him for that, and that's it.
Look, he was my boss on one of the East Timor trips. It always seemed like it was the Angus show. It never felt like he was had moral courage sticking up for us in any way. As a matter of fact, we weren't even allowed to swim because it would have looked bad if it had been on 60 Minutes and someone had been attacked by a shark when they're meant to be patrolling, etc. You know, so we were like, we're in an area which is one of the hottest places on earth with body armour on, okay, 70 kilos of equipment and ammunition, going out and fighting patrols, and you won't even give us the benefit of a swim in a controlled environment?
Yeah, exactly.
Look,
He was just trying to control images instead of controlling the actual army.
one of the last point that I want to bring up, okay, is what is the ramification going to be now for the trust of medical? Okay, I'll give you an example. They used a doctor to win, his own words, to win the trust of the soldiers.
Yeah, and used. That's a key word too. It's not like this doctor had no skin in the game. She was commissioned to go and manipulate their minds until they gave the information that he was after.
Cracked the shell. They knew that they would never open the doors to someone, so they actually used, come in, arm around. I am the mum that you can speak to.
Geez, and who would know better than someone who has that sort of training on how to manipulate someone's brain into getting them to say, I mean, it could even damage the case for them, because we don't know how much she's manipulated them to get them to say this stuff. We don't know.
Look,
we've no idea.
It is true. And I'm about to tell you something that is absolutely not fake news. When I went forward to say I was having problems after Rwanda, and that was like 4 or 5 years before the end of my career, not even. I ended up finding out about a course, and I was so angry that the soldiers that I knew had never told me about it, called a PTSD course. I'd never really even heard of PTSD, mental health issues, invisible wounds. I was like, invisible wounds sounds pretty cool, but the rest I was like, I don't know about that. And when I eventually went forward to the doctor, there was a guy, if he's out there, you're a fuckhead. His name was McNamara. And I gave him the rundown, everything. And I was a blubbering mess. I opened up to him, and he did nothing with that. And then I had to come forward, and there was a woman nurse named Dee Dukerich, who used to be married to a fantastic guy called Grant. Now, she said to me, Kaz, I can't just send you into the psychiatrist. Tell me a little bit what's going on. I told her everything. She did fucking nothing. So I went, you know what? I don't care what's going to happen. I started paying $600 an hour to go and see a guy called Michael Likely, because I felt like I was not far off losing my fight myself.
He's helped a lot of it. And there was a lot of stigma back then in the early days. It's taken a lot of people like yourself, like me, who have PTSD and invisible injuries to stand up and say, so what? This is what I've got. And we've broken that stigma, but now it's all back again. There's this fear of going that's washed over the community of don't tell your doctor stuff. Don't do it. The doctor might play with your head. The doctor might, get you to say stuff that's going to cause problems. And now they've lost that trust.
It's true. And you know what? When I did come forward and got onto a PTSD course at the clinic at Townsville, and Jane Keast was one of the nicest ladies I've ever met. Fantastic. Take my hat off. Haven't got one. Sean Dempsey, one of the best men I've ever known, who does a psychiatrist, but actually does men's sessions for free for soldiers. I went on an 8-week intensive therapy course where you did exposure therapy with 7 other soldiers, police, etc. And I did that. And then when I come back to work, they said, please don't go back to work straight away. But the army, at the time was angry that I'd gone on a PTSD course.
Yep.
Within a couple of days of getting back, it would have been close to 40 degrees. There was no air conditioning. I didn't know what was happening with my family. I didn't know what was happening with me. I didn't know what was happening with the army.
And you've opened all those wounds. You've just done all that processing. And when you go get some kind of therapy, even if it's group therapy or a course, there is still processing to be done after you've left that session or that group or that course. So you shouldn't have been back at work.
Well, one of them killed himself last week, by the way, of my session. But when I got back, hey, Jay Gunn, give me 2 seconds. I actually got yelled at. You know, I'd had a major downstairs talk to me and say, why don't you come and work for me? I can see you coming unscrewed, son. He spoke to me in a really nice way, and he was a man that didn't show much emotion. And I said, look, I'll do anything to get out of the situation I'm doing. You know, I was underperforming. I told my boss at the time, I will underperform if I have to work for you. I cannot do this role. I was told, I know you, you'll be fine. And one of the underlings that was there, that was actually one of my bosses, so to speak, after Rwanda, was there when we came back. He was the one that was yelling at me. You know, and that was straight after coming off a PTSD course. I had never felt in my life more or closer to taking my own life than what I did then. My whole world fell apart. And then a man that saved my life, his name is Damien Green, he served, and he rang up and said, if I can give you, you know, a request to come down and work for me, do you think that you could come down and give me a good year? I don't mean a Michelin tyre. And Goodyear tyres, get it? And I said to him, if you can get me posted down there, I will give you the best year of my career. And I did. And I did. So to Damien Green, thank you very much. What I'm saying to you is, if you call people in and say, you can trust me, and then you let them down, you might very well be the one with real blood on your hands. You know, these soldiers have nowhere they can go except the people they can trust, who are in, not their family, but professionals, because you don't want your family and friends to know what you've done, what you've been through, what your life has been, and they don't need that, and they probably can't even be able to understand what you're talking about because they don't see a sight, the smell that you do every time you talk about it. So that's all on that one. I'm just going to let you know. Someone asked a great question before, could this cause the life of other soldiers? And the answer is categorically yes. This has already caused lives to be taken. Yep. So there is actual blood on people's hands at the moment, believe me. And it might have happened anyway. We don't know. Jay Gunn, thoughts on what someone can do at RMC and beyond to actually look after their diggers with a focus on not making the same mistakes as high brass? Well, that's how we learn of people's mistakes. What can happen is there will be a reformation through the army where this is either going to get a hell of a lot worse or it's going to actually heal, but it can only heal if, in conclusion, Angus Campbell steps down. And I believe that the Minister of Defence should also step down, because that is the highest people, the highest civilian, highest military. The buck stops with them, and none of this falls on Scotty Morris.
Well, I think he was blindsided like everyone else. You know, I think he was thrown into a really crap position. But I do think the Defence Minister should have known what was going on. Yeah, and the fact she said nothing for 2 weeks, wanted to see public opinion, how did it pan out? And you know what? What you should be happy, team, what you should be happy about is the Australian public stood up for their military. They didn't expect to see that. And what did you expect? They're at a war. They're not dealing with bloody shepherds. The Australian people are not as stupid as people like Campbell and Morrison think they are. We find it as a civilian, we find it very nefarious when top brass from the military all of a sudden try to line their own pockets and cross over for speaking to us. We don't like that at all. Look, Australian soldiers have been muzzled for over 100 years. Yep. And if you actually give them the chance to get cornered, they can handle it from civilians. They can handle it. They can handle it from the enemy. But if you get it from your own boss and then get permission to speak, there's a whole lot of secrets that we don't speak about. Exactly. But we don't need to be this way. Let the dice be rolled. They will be. Let the right people hear from the accounts of those people. And there may very well be the people that lost their mind after doing 16 tours. Yep. That would be given absolute redemption if it was done for anything in a civilian court of law. And let's just wait to see how it goes before we start passing the buck or blaming people. Exactly right, but we do need to start at the top, and it needs to be Campbell. He should never have gotten a promotion, and he should not be able to keep his position. It has become totally untenable. And there's one thing also, like you said about Australian soldiers, And Australian civilians always, except they dropped the ball in Vietnam, have by and large supported our diggers because they're our brothers, they're our sisters, they're our family, they're our husbands, they're our cousins, and we love them.
I don't have a husband.
You know what I mean? We love them. They're a part of our culture. They're a massive part of our culture. The Anzac spirit runs every single civilian.
It does. Snakeo's got a question here too. Can you do it with your voice, please, Lauren? It sounds better than mine.
Kaz, this question was probably asked already, but what's your thoughts on the photoshopped image of an Australian soldier putting a knife to an Afghan child from a Tanlan official?
I think...
It was actually commissioned by the Tanlan government.
Yep, by the CCP.
Yep.
I don't expect anything different. Like we said at the start, this was an international incident that caused ripples. This should always be a reminder that the red chip is not your friend in any way. They are not.
No.
They are not a conducive culture, but their food is fantastic, and individually their people can be amazing.
And anyone can cook it, though. You know, it doesn't take a special talent. So
it does to velvet that meat, and I know how to do that too.
Yeah, we can do that. We've got their secrets. So, and that's the thing is that people shouldn't expect. And what it really showed me is that, they're going to Photoshop images. They're not above doing that. So we shouldn't trust any image that ever comes out of the Tanlan media, ever.
Yeah, this is coming from a country that has got deep, deep tentacles into what's happening in the US at the moment. It's also got its tentacles wrapped directly around someone whose name rhymes with Diden. It's also absolutely in Australian culture too. If you don't believe it, they own 3% of our country.
Yep, got to change in my opinion.
And if you do a bit of research on them, and you don't need to do research on them because you don't need to make your day feel shit. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever.
Just be aware.
Know what's real.
Be an Aussie. Know your neighbour. Offer them a sausage. And respect the fact you live in the best country in the world.
Yeah, exactly. And also, here's the thing. That they're calling those artists warrior wolf artists. Yes, at least in Australia, our cartoonists can draw cartoons of their own government. Let's see that a Chinese artist draw a cartoon of their own government and what happens, how quick they disappear like a Hong Kong bookseller.
That's right. Let's end this one with something nice.
Okay, good.
Okay, other than Ed B3, who got his orders today for 11th of January. Fantastic. He's about to come out of the cocoon. But we've got Drunk Aussie here. Got to head off. Little girl wants to FaceTime before she goes to bed. See you in the next one, Kaz. Goodbye all. Bam. What a fantastic thing. Father, daughter, parent, daughter, love it. You know, bring up our kids, bring them up great. Steve-O, Whit Sunday is one of my favourite places in the world. It's got a Cactus Jacks now at Ellie Beach, which makes it almost perfect, except for the fact there's no surf.
Yeah, is there really? I
Yep,
didn't know that.
it's a good one too. Someone should have sent the CCP picture of Winnie the Pooh and watched them lose their shit. Guys and gals, we're living in interesting times.
We do.
I think 2021, the premonition video is going to come out.
Oh, yeah, do that because then we can all write our predictions.
That's right. But guys and gals, thank you. I hope tonight showed us how not to be aggressive in the way we communicate. I hope that it put some meat on the bones. It allowed you to communicate. It's given you a source of information. And from here, I believe and I hope, if it's not too late, and I believe it is, that the Minister of Defence and the Chief of the Army, it is time for you to step down as the least you can do. If you want this Army, Navy and Air Force, to follow your lead, if you want officers to follow your lead and understand what it actually means to have the burden of command, to have moral courage. This is your turn to metaphorically lean on your sword, give back the cross, allow the others to keep their citation, and enjoy the rest of your life. And please don't follow it into politics, or it's going to look even worse for you.
Exactly. Just enjoy your retirement, because it's the only way that the civilians would ever even have grain of trust in you again, and possibly the army. You tainted the whole army.
You don't want to be that guy that walks through airports for the rest of life hearing, fuckhead!
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Carl, awesome. JJ, great. Roger Ramjet, used to love the cartoon, not the chin, because I couldn't imagine putting a chin strap on it. Queensland University Regiment, do something about your goddamn slouch hats. If word gets to me about how bad they are, someone up there bash those slouch hats, and I don't mean get them bashed. Don't let anyone wear them until they are inspection ready, because they represent the entire army. Okay, other than that, everyone, thank you very much for donations. Thank you for listening to Lauren and I and yourself through comments. Thank you for not one single asshole comment tonight.
Exactly. It was an invigorating chat.
Yeah, they should be proud of themselves.
Yeah, indeed.
It's like there's some troll fever out there that stops them from coming. I love it.
They sure do love the comments section. They don't like to come in the chat because,
That's true.
you know, we're all pretty logical.
Logical is how it's pronounced.
Oh, okay, sorry. I apologise.
God. It's logical.
Logical.
Okay, team. Take it easy. I don't even know what to say about donations.
Yeah, thank you.
What can we do?
Yeah, we can say thank you.
When you get to heaven, what do you think you'll say? I'll say g'day.
G'day, exactly. Good night, everyone.
Good times coming. JJ the Submariner, I see you down there. Get off your mate. See you later, guys and gals. Go and love your family. Weekend, December. Get ready, because it's still going to be a religious holiday, even for those that don't like it. Press the like if you can.
Exactly.
Let's try and get it to 68 by tomorrow.
Yeah, 21 days till Christmas, till Santa comes. Be good.
Johnny, and remember to wear a snorkel, because he will empty his sack all over you.
Good heavens.
Bukkake Santa. Good night.
Oh, God.
Subscribe right now if you can. Love yous, and let's leave with some cracking. See you later.
Bye-bye.
Get out.
It's a kraken!
You okay?
Feed him a mother-in-law. That should make him happy.